Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and following a little bit of advice that I had gotten on one of my videos, or more so like a hey, check this out, you might not have known about this. I did a little bit of finagling with my microphone because I was noticing that as I was recording, there was like a little background popping noise. It's a little kind of like that, except for maybe not as loud, but I did some finagling with my microphone, so if the sound quality is different or it's been impacted in any significant way, by all means let me know. I was just trying to eliminate that little popping noise so that we could enjoy our videos together. Anyway, let's... Alright, so we're going to do the jazz soundtrack, and today is going to be a class build. You probably already know this thanks to the thumbnail. But we are going to be doing Dark Knight today. Now, Dark Knight is one of those interesting ones in that it's not one of those things that's easily recognized in at least some tabletop RPGs. I don't know about all of them. But I know Dungeons & Dragons is always a little iffy on how the Dark Knight works. The closest you get in Dungeons & Dragons is like... for lack of a better word, let's see, is this... Okay, I might go with that. But yeah, the closest Dungeons & Dragons ever really gets is the, Oathbreaker Paladin or whatever, but it's never truly, the negative Paladin. It's... Oh, pardon me. It's always just the same thing as Paladin, but a little bit more mean, or however you want to look at it. It's never actually anti-Paladin, so to speak. It's not the right word, but I'm having a hard time finding the right word. So, for this one, we are going to be using multiple Chaos Arcana to represent the idea that we are getting our abilities from essentially the darker side, acquiring some abilities that some might consider to be unnatural. But then for the basic and the dash, we're going to do something a little bit more normal. See, Dark Knights are known for using swords. I mean, they use sickles too, but I think swords is the best thing to do here. And in that respect, I think we go with either Windslash or Frostblade. I'm gonna go Frostblade. As far as their dash, we've got a lot of options for what we could do for the dash. See, there's nothing saying that a Dark Knight can't use a shield, so there we go. We've got water, ice, shield, and a lot of darkness. Because we're edgy. Alright, so because of that, I feel more comfortable using something other than the retro floor plan. So for this build, we're going to go with that. And we'll actually, I think we should start with taking a nap. We'll start at the Chilling Dungeons. Alright, so it's been a while since I've done a run without the retro floor plan, so we're going to run into room configurations we haven't seen in a while. Alright, so why don't we start by answering the most fundamental question of what is a Dark Knight? Well, the best way to describe a Dark Knight would be like a paladin with powers derived more so from... Enemies have so much more health without the Retro 4 plan active. But yeah, Dark Knight's powers are derived from, obviously, much different sources than a regular Paladin's. Often coming from, like, darker or more eldritch power sources. But their abilities may be darker, but it's generally up to the character themselves to decide how to use those abilities. Like, you could say that, you know, witches and warlocks are inherently evil characters or are an evil class, but that's only as true as the character is, and this is another example of that. I just realized I rolled the jazz soundtrack and didn't use it. Whoops. Forgive me, Lords of Randomness. Okay, well, I think the Tesla coil is something that we can grab, as that would mirror nicely to getting the Hunter Stiletto. Though I can't say that we're going to get that for a matter of fact, I just hope that we get it. Oh wow, pathfinding AI is just a little bit garbage. We're just gonna go around. Alright, so probably not going to want to grab anything Earth-based because a lot of our enemies are going to resist that. Ow! How dare you? Alright, well, I think that's a... Like, there's like one other battle room, but I'm not sure how much I care about it. So let's just go grab our freebie. Then the Tesla coil, and then we'll just move on. Alright, my apologies. I got so caught up in the run, I forgot to even talk about Dark Knights. And I guess because a lot of people will take the term Dark Knight and use that to create really edgy, kind of like gruff and whatever characters. Like, you know, Batman is a good example, especially since he actually calls himself the Dark Knight. I am Batman! I am the Knight! But, and as I just got done explaining, that whole, like, dark aspect, it's just a tool, just like the holy power aspect is just a tool for paladins. But another good way to think of it is by looking at what they are in other aspects, and typically Final Fantasy is what I turn to. But in this case, there's another RPG that does Dark Knight's justice, and that's Bravely Default. And yeah, you could just say, yeah, but that's just Final Fantasy by another name. Technically. Not that I have anything against that. Bravely Default is a good game. But we are also talking about Square Enix here, and they have their own issues when it comes to maintaining their games. And when I say that, I mean they have a hard time keeping to a game's identity. I'm not even going to necessarily say that that's 100% a bad thing, because sometimes it pays to do something different. But if you're taking one of your flagship series and, you know, deciding that, no one wants menu-based combat anymore, we're going to turn it into Devil May Cry. It's like, okay, that's awkward, but... And surely there's a market out there for people who want action RPGs like that. And speaking of action RPGs, I'm just going to take a quick tangent to say, yes, I am hyped for Visions of Mana. But it is a cautionary hype, because the last time I played a new Mana game was Children of Mana. That game was pretty awful. So, I guess it's a little cautionary tale to myself. Don't let your hype overload your common sense. But if going back to Final Fantasy and Bravely Default, what they did with Dark Knights there is they gave them like a skill and equipment set kind of all their own. Now, true, they still wielded swords, because, you know, you can't have a fantasy protagonist without a sword, but in Bravely Default, it was mildly changed up to using katanas. And that's not necessarily a classic Dark Knight trait. They aren't all about using katanas, but I do use Dark Knight characters myself, and two of them use katanas, so maybe there is something to that line of logic. But then I have a third one who uses, like, photon beams and laser pole arms. So take that however you will. We get a little sci-fi with our shit. That was silly of me. But the most defining feature of Dark Knights from those games is that a lot of their special abilities, abilities outside of just attack, defend, use items, and, poo your pants. An especially effective ability when you're going up against optional bosses. was that they had the ability to sacrifice some HP in order to use powerful attacks that typically dealt dark damage, or if you're playing D&D 5e, I guess you would say that was necrotic damage. And that was kind of one of their defining traits, is that they used their health as a resource in order to perform special attacks. And the best way that I could think of to use that here is to go with the Venture Robe to get a lot of power, but at the cost of some maximum health. Since, there aren't really any spells that say this spell is extra powerful, but you have to hurt yourself to use it. No, there's no spells like that in this game. That wasn't even one of the upgrade affixes in One Step from Eden, so I didn't expect there to be anything that I could use like that. Definitely grab this. Okay, we can upgrade our blades. That's a good thing. It might not be a bad idea to grab Inferno Beam, but let's see how much money I have at the end of this floor, because I'm gonna have less than I normally would, because I'm not playing a retro floor plan on this time. Kind of want that. But I guess you could say that characters built with that design philosophy in mind of using your health as a resource to perform powerful attacks, yeah, I guess you could say that's a little edgelordy, but I'm not sure I like that particular description of things. And in all reality, it's just another means by which to accomplish an end. But I see the draw. Treasure. I just wish there was more of it. And this should be proof that even without the retro floor plan, you still every now and again encounter rooms like this with all the spikes in the corner. Uh, like I just alluded to, I've designed a good few Dark Knight characters. I guess that... And you could say whatever you want to about that. Maybe I just... Maybe I just have a penchant for that kind of like edgier aesthetic myself. But ultimately, I think it's... Anytime I've designed a character like that, it was with a story reason in mind. Like, one of them is a character that chose to use the Strength of Darkness to their advantage because a lot of their motivations are about anger and getting back at someone for I would say a perceived slight, but I mean, the character's father got murdered by someone, so is that perceived, or is that, yeah, you did wrong by someone? Or someone did wrong by you, I should say. So I don't think that's really a perceived slight, that's just a slight. Oh, I was trying to stop on that platform. I don't know if I necessarily want any of this. I mean, I guess I'll grab that. I'm not going to be getting a lot of Chaos Gems, but I mean, it is still a damage improvement. But that is another way you can look at Dark Knights, is like, you know, a sort of more shadowy kind of character who gets a little bit more strength from... Yeah, I'll grab that. That gets a little bit more strength from the kind of more perceived negative emotion. And the reason why I like that idea is very similar to why I like characters like Magus, because it shows that that you can achieve good things through not necessarily the most wholesome of ends. Okay, it felt like my Y button wasn't activating properly there. Alright, well I kind of got beat up there, but in the end I still feel like I did alright. I don't really want that, but I'll remember it's there in case something comes up that gives me pause to use it. Wow! It's rare that you get a complete whiff like that. Mirror Shield might be good. I have a full suite of relics, so... I know one of them is useless, though. Hey, I still have an Arcana that can be upgraded, you know. No pressure or anything, it's just been sitting there for a while. Just waiting to be acknowledged as worthy. I hate level 3 Earth Knights so much. Wow, that's the first time I've lost a class build. Alright, so how about this? I'm going to rework the build a little bit, and we might actually come back to this, because there's still more that can be... Well, to be honest, not a lot more that can be said about Dark Knights, but I also refuse to let this one go down as a failure. That having been said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, at least up until this part. I appreciate you coming and spending your free time here with me today. I hope you have a fantastic day or night wherever you may happen to be. And I will catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care, everybody.